there is this debate going on right now about the future of SaaS, software as a service. Basically, the future of software, where this whole industry goes now that AI is here. And I have some thoughts because I come from the marketing side. I've been doing marketing for 15 years, and I have recently gone very deep into AI-driven engineering, vibe coding, vibe engineering, whatever you want to call it, building with Claude, the whole thing. So I'm living in both worlds. And I think there's two sides to this debate. Side one says that SaaS is not going anywhere. You need engineers, you need developers. Anyone who has built software could tell you that it's not that easy to build. It's one thing to build a thing that runs well on your computer, and it's a whole other thing to build something that is maintainable, that is secure, something that over time continues to improve for a whole bunch of people in a whole bunch of different environments. Maintaining that software is a lot more difficult than actually building it. Side two, the other side, says that AI changes everything. Vibe coders are building apps in a weekend. There's one-person billion-dollar companies. Sam Altman said it, so it must be true. It's coming. And I think both of these sides are missing something when it comes to this debate. And like I said, I come from a completely marketing background, and I can tell you that I have watched the same exact debate play out before multiple times in different industries. Every discipline, every craft has a thing that on the outside looks very easy. You can step in and say, hey, I put out a TikTok video and it did well. It got a lot of clicks and boom, I solved it. Marketing and marketers are going to go away. People were saying that with Instagram. Oh, look how easy it is, for these photos from these regular people. Clearly, we have figured out marketing. Clearly, we know how to make all the visuals now. It's done. People were saying the same thing when ChatGPT came out. Well, it writes my LinkedIn copy now. It can write my captions. It writes the email. So I'm done. Marketing is figured out. I'm done. What are marketers possibly going to do? And the same thing for code. It's one thing to write the thing on the surface, and it's a whole other thing to actually operate it in such a way that people are using it, recommending it, improving it, and championing it. And what I've learned from watching this play out in marketing is that there is an operational component to greatness. Whether it's great software, great marketing, whatever that is. That part is not seen. That part can only be appreciated by the people who do the thing, because you don't know what you don't know. People talk about how we're going to split up, that there's going to be people building with AI, and then there's going to be, everyone else. The people who do the marketing and the product, and that's the split. And that's what they're predicting the future to be. But we already have that split. We already have the split of people who work on the engineering side, and then we have the people with the soft skills who do the marketing and the design and the vision stuff. We have that split in our professions, in our crafts, in the businesses that we have. So that's not even necessarily a new thing. What I completely disagree with is this idea that there's something fundamentally important about knowing the code underneath. A lot of programmers don't know what's underneath. Compiled language, that's like a whole layer. And every generation of programmers looks at the future generation of programmers and says, well, they don't have these skills that I learned when I came up, so how can they possibly be doing the same thing? And that has been a very generational thing. And it is not just limited to programmers. Every industry has this. Every industry has the old guard and the new guard, whatever the distinctions may be. Programming itself didn't just show up out of nowhere. It's a discipline that has evolved over 70 years, layer on top of layer on top of layer, to the point that when you're working at the top layer, the most recent layer, you don't need to know C++. You don't need to know all of the ideas and all of the languages that have built into the thing that you're at your current snapshot are working. And because of that, it's easy to look at a snapshot in time and be like, well, if you don't know this snapshot, you can't do the future stuff. And you also just ignore this whole thing underneath. And I think that's something that's really important to consider, that we don't appreciate all of the things that have been built underneath. I speak to this as someone who has completely embraced AI-driven engineering in the same way that you could imagine a college student who's entering the field for the first time. Why would they learn a specific coding language right now when they could learn about agent harnesses, when you can learn about agentic coding and how to use LLMs in your work? Because that in itself is the particular skill set. That's the particular language now. And when I talk to programmers and they're like, well, I don't know where to start with AI. There's so many different tools. There's like OpenClaw and like all of these things are coming out very quickly. If you have established yourself in the field in one particular domain, there is a lot of things. And that's like the whole point. There's new people who are entering the field for the first time, and they're the ones who are learning the new stuff. They have the time to figure out the agentic harnesses and to read all of Anthropic's blogs and everything that Boris Cherny and Andrei Karpathy are saying. They have the time to do these things, and that becomes their mode of operation. It's very easy for us as professionals in whatever craft that we do to get stuck in our own work, because that is what we got paid to do. That is what we got rewarded and reinforced for doing and for learning. Even as I talk about embracing everything that is new, I think it's vital to still honor the craft that got us here. I have watched videos on YouTube where, lifelong programmers are like, well, I feel like I should be coding by hand because it helps me think the problems through. And I say, do that, because every expert has the thing that they're good at that they return to. And I myself feel that with marketing. There is a sense of guilt that I feel when I have easy work. Like when Claude makes it very easy to do something that was difficult before, that was time consuming before. And that guilt comes, when I could sit and try to think of an email campaign, the subject lines, preview text, all of that. How should we sequence it and move them down a funnel and consider their customer journey and do the research on the competitors, all of that. It's a lot of things to consider. And then you give this whole thing to Claude and it comes back with a perfect cadence. And you're like, I can't believe I spent all this time doing this. And I myself, I have returned to doing some of my own writing by hand, copywriting by hand. It's a technique that I forgot what it's called, but you just copy successful ads by hand. There's like a swipe file and you just rewrite ads from whatever, whenever, by hand. And you just kind of get into the flow of the pacing of the ad and the pacing of the copywriting. And, that's like one particular marketing skill that one could hone. For me, that's a thing I used to do, and I credit it with my own thinking about how I write things. So I want to keep that skill alive because it helps me think through the work that I do. And for a developer, I imagine it's important to do whatever you need to do to keep your mind sharp, to keep your thinking sharp. Because it's not about knowing the code by hand. It's not about checking your own code. It's not about writing your own copy. It's about being meticulous and paying attention to the work that you're doing that you care about, because that is symptomatic of the work that we do overall. The experts that do these things are going to continue to be the experts. And if you can maintain that kernel of your expertise, the kernel, the seed of your mastery, then you can keep that and you could hone it and you can maintain it and you can grow it. And that becomes the competitive advantage with all of the tools that we have. And that's why I'm excited about the future, because like those engineers and those marketers who do care about the craft and their own skills and how they think these things through, as the tools permeate throughout their own work and that there's more interfaces to work with LLMs, those are the people who will be able to apply that level of thinking and that level of detail with the tools that they have and continue to do great work, because an expert with great tools will do really amazing things. And I truly believe that.